The title of the Divine Comedy can be confusing to modern readers, since it's clearly not a comic work such as those of Aristophanes or Plautus. The word comedy in the title is intended to refer to the style of the poem. At the time, Latin was the accepted language for sophisticated works of literature. Scholars and intellectuals wrote in a cultivated Latin style since their work was aimed at a small group of educated people as readers. The genres of tragedy or philosophical writing used this kind of style as was suitable for the elevated subject matter. Next down the hierarchy of style was the elegy, which also claimed a degree of literary pretension. The lowest rung on the ladder of style was comedy, since it was pitched to a general audience and was intended to be understood by everyone. This broad audience was Dante's intended readership, and this is what the Divine Comedy has in common with the comedies of Aristophanes and Plautus. Dante made his work accessible even to uneducated people by writing in Italian and not Latin. By calling his poem the Comedy, he is thus taking a humble stance, declaring that his work is not a sophisticated scholarly one. It should also be noted that the predicate divine in the title was, in fact, a dubious later addition and should be disregarded. It was added by Dante's first biographer, the Italian humanist Giovanni Boccaccio, but did not constitute a part of the original title. The Divine Comedy is divided into three large parts dedicated respectively to hell, purgatory, and paradise. It's carefully conceived with a number of parallels and symmetries, with the number 3 bearing special significance. For example, each section consists of 33 cantos, with the Inferno containing an extra introductory one, thus bringing the total of the work as a whole to 100. With each section, there are 9 locations, 9 circles of hell, 9 rings of purgatory, and 9 celestial bodies of heaven, or paradise. Further, there are many examples of things coming not in pairs, but in threes, such as 3 heads of the devil. The frequent use of the number 3 is intended to mirror the Christian doctrine of the Trinity. The Inferno itself has a complex structure organized into individual circles where specific sins are punished together, with each form of sin having its own unique punishment. Some of the circles are further subdivided. The 8th circle of hell, for example, consists of 10 separate ditches, or bolgia. As Dante moves from one circle to the next, descending ever deeper, the sins become more serious and the punishments more terrible. The best overview of the structure of the Inferno is provided in Canto 11, where Dante's guide Virgil describes in the individual circles and their punishments. Scholars spent a lot of time discussing the nuances of Dante's rationale in ordering the individual sins in the specific places where they are assigned. The disciplined structure of the work is presumably designed to give the reader an appreciation for the rationality of God's creation. God has created a meaningful and orderly universe which can be understood by the human intellect. In this regard, the worldview of Dante is radically different from that of the ancients, where the events of the world are often caused by arbitrary things such as the anger of specific gods. For the ancients, the world was an unpredictable and dangerous place. Many of the characters that we've studied, such as Gilgamesh or Job, repeatedly ask why bad things happen in the world. This was a mystery to them. While it's true that the Greeks and the Romans had a conception of fate that in a sense explained this, fate itself was an enigma. No one could really say why Oedipus was fated to commit the crimes that he did and to suffer from it. It would be absurd to say that prior to his birth, he made himself guilty of something that caused the gods to assign him this fate. It's just fated this way, and there's no explanation. But now, for the Christian conception of Dante, things are orderly and comprehensible. Dante's work explains in great detail the moral aspect of the world. God's design of the universe has justice as its end, and the placement of people in hell, purgatory, or paradise is a natural result of this. The work tells the story of Dante's journey through each of these 3 regions. While these are portrayed as outward physical locations, they are allegories for the struggle that occurs in Dante's own inward life. The outward is thus co-opted by the inward. This can be seen at a broader level when we consider the role played in this work in the development of epic poetry. Homer writes about the Greek and Trojan heroes, while Virgil sings the praises of Aeneas. In each case, the authors themselves play no significant role in the plot of the story. By contrast, Dante makes the bold move of making himself into a character in the epic, indeed the main character. From the ancient perspective, this would appear to be a hugely egoistic thing to do. But Dante's portrayal of himself in the main role is an indication of the growth of the value of the individual and subjectivity that takes place with the rise of Christianity. Now, the inward religious life of the individual is considered so important that it's worthy of an epic poem. In the past, the inward life of the individual was a trivial matter, but now it takes on importance that is unprecedented historically. The sphere of the human struggle and activity is not the outward battlefield, but the inwardness of the human mind.